Good day ladies and gents, and welcome to Inkwenkwezi Private Game Reserve. So we had a whole lot of rain last night and the day before, so I'm going to see what's out on the reserve today. Generally you get a few more animals out because the rain's washed off all the dust off the leaves close to the roads. There's a lot more insects coming out after the rain, so the birds are more active, so we'll see what we can find. Okay, so I've stopped here next to, well, pretty much in the river, next to a couple of waterberry trees, right in between them actually. So the river's actually flowing nicely after the rains. Now we're actually just passing the fruiting time of the waterberries. You can see here, this is a very overripe waterberry. Now, it is probably one of the strangest textures I've ever had the pleasure of tasting. They are edible, very nice and sweet, very juicy. However, when they're in your mouth, they give you this like very powdery feel. Completely dries up your mouth when you're eating them. So yeah, it's quite a strange feeling. But you can make quite nice smoothies out of them. And you can actually use the leaves to make it's a sort of a medicinal drink to help with the diarrhea. So if I'm having a look here where I stopped, there's actually a lot of tracks along the road, some of them more fresh than others. Quite close over here we've got some buffalo tracks. You can see it's almost a direct register. Quite fresh. Very fresh actually. If you have a look here, there's some fresh giraffe tracks as well. Now you see it looks quite similar to a buffalo track, however it's quite elongated. Very long track. See, it's quite a large track as well. A couple smaller ones here. See over there, very likely a nyala. Oh, looks promising. Okay, so after following these giraffe tracks along the road, I actually got a giraffe staring at us. He just ruminated there. So the giraffe are actually our largest ruminant species that you get. So just like a cow chewing on the cud, they will bring up that stomach contents, chew it up some more, and then swallow it again. This way they just get a lot more nutrition out of the food they eat. So you often see them just standing around, keeping an eye out for danger and ruminating. So he's actually quite alert. And try to get a little bit closer. So on my way to this giraffe, I just need to share with you this gorgeous view. You can actually see way out in the back huge storm clouds passing. And a little bit more to the left you can actually see it clearing up. Comes the blue silhouette of the giraffe. Still ruminating there. And actually spotted a couple blue wildebeest on the tops of the hill here. See them hiding out. Like a couple smaller ones there as well. Can never get enough of this view. So beautiful. So I'd like to take this opportunity to show you guys the difference between male and female giraffe and the easiest way to tell them apart. You know, generally when you see giraffe, you see their head sticking out from trees. So if you ever look at the top of her head, her little ossicones. It's actually an extension of the skull, solid bone. Now those ossicones, the females never use them for fighting like the males do. So you can see the black hair on top is always very neat, like a little paintbrush. Now if we head across to a male, about 6 giraffe here actually at the moment. Now if you look at the male's ossicones, clear up a bit. There we go. So his ossicones are a little bit more broad, and you see that black hair is actually hit off on the top there. You can actually see the bone surface on top. So males fight for dominance for mating purposes, and because the females never fight, the ossicones are always very thin and neat, and the males obviously get broad, the hair goes off, sometimes they break and repair, and they can get a bit wonky at times. And you see the top of his head there as well, his forehead section. It's also gotten quite bulky there from fighting. So it's one of the easiest ways, unless you go have a look underneath. It's also quite an accurate method. However, you can't always rely on that, unfortunately, as you can't always see it. So when giraffe are standing still like this, you refer to them as a tower of giraffe. However, when they're walking around, they're known as a journey of giraffe, which is quite interesting. And they're two different collective nouns. So something I love about giraffe being in a little group like this is they tend to be a lot more brave. You can see this male, he's probably standing about 10 meters from me. He couldn't be bothered. So very curious animals. Females keeping a close eye on us. Those beautiful lashes, something to make all ladies jealous. Such a beautiful young female, actually. A little bit of an angle here. Some beautiful lighting on him, giving him a nice silhouette. And the sun at the back of the clouds there. Beautiful viewing area out on the open plains. There's a giraffe there, way out on the hill. Couple of blissbock over here. See the little white faces. Zebra on the far hill over here. Just come across some nyala and blue wildebeest. Now nyala must be one of my favorite species of antelope. See, the males are absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. The long dark fur, whereas the female looks like a different species actually, also just as beautiful. But you can see she's much lighter in color, she doesn't have horns. They're actually the species of antelope with the most difference in physical appearance. We call that sexual dimorphism. So what's quite interesting about Nyala is when a male is born, he actually looks exactly like a female. Nice light coloured fur, no long hair, no horns, and he'll look like a female for, I'd say, almost 2 years, and then he starts getting his nice dark colouring, his long horns, and when he really starts to look like a male, then he's kicked out the herd. So it's sort of nature's way of allowing them to grow up old enough before they're sent off to fend for themselves. Now, just like other species, many other species of antelope, when Nyala are kicked out the herd, the males, they will join up in little bachelor herds, just for safety in numbers. So it's quite nice to see these two out in the open. Generally, they like to hide around in the thick bushes. You can see those lovely stripes and spots on the coat. Actually helps with the camouflage, like a dappled shade effect, making them very difficult to spot in the trees. Obviously enjoying the grass here after the rain has freshened it up. Okay, so what I found over here are some nice jackal tracks. They are quite fresh, probably from early this morning. Now, in previous episodes, Courtney has explained quite nicely like how to see a cat track with the 3 lobes at the back. Now you'll notice here there's just the 2 lobes at the back, which is very typical of a canine track. Now you'll see as well the nails in front here, also very typical of a type of dog track, because cats tend to, well, they retract their claws, so you don't see the nails there in the front. However, the only species of cat track you'd see with the claws is a cheetah track. Okay, so just for size comparison, you can see the track is quite small, and they're heading off down the road. So while I'm here in this little riverbed, I'll actually show you, it looks like some water mongoose tracks as well. Very distinct track, you can see their claws. So heading off down this way. There's also some older blue wildebeest tracks. Very similar to waterbug tracks, however, blue wildebeest tracks, you'll notice, are a little bit more square, whereas a waterbug track would be a bit pointed. Always these sandy riverbeds are the best areas to look for various tracks. Some much older giraffe tracks. Here's a nice track of a vervet monkey. You can see the thumb here, the right thumb, and the other fingers in the front here.